Hello and welcome to Catalyze Music Academy. My name is Zaak Kerstetter. I'm an Ableton Certified Trainer. And for today's quick tip, I want to talk a little bit about Unlinked Automation, which I think is a feature that flies under the radar quite a bit. And so I'm going to shine a little bit of light on it and how you can use it to make really interesting loops in live. So to start off, I've got a little patch I made that's just an arpeggiator, plus a wavetable, plus a little bit of delay, and then an auto filter down here at the end. And this is what it sounds like just by itself. So that's what I'm working with. And say I want to add some automation here. So say I want to go to my auto filter and my filter frequency, and I want this to change over time, say something like this. And like every bar, this is just going to duplicate. So we just have that little motion with the auto filter kind of moving down. But say I don't want this to reset every bar. Say I want this to reset every 3 quarter notes. I could do that, but I have to like go in and like do a bunch of automation. I can do something like this, but it doesn't cycle up nicely. It doesn't sit well with the kind of combination of how I'm looping this. So what I could do instead is I could hit this button right here. This is going to unlink my automation from the loop length of my actual clip, which means I could go in here and I could set this to be 3 quarter notes. So you can see the loop race looks a little different here, and we can't see the MIDI notes anymore. But if I go back to the MIDI notes, this is still just a 4-bar clip. But it now means that every 3 quarter notes, that automation is going to cycle through. Let's make it a little bit more obvious. Which is pretty cool. So like I said, this is really handy for creating more interesting combinations of your loops. So say, for example, I want this to be a 3-bar loop, and let's go ahead and I can just hit Command Delete to delete that automation. Let's go back in here, re-unlink it, set this to be 3 bars. And now if I do something like this, this is going to reset over 3 bars, where again, my actual loop is going to be 4 bars, which means every 12 bars, it's going to reset and kind of resync up. Which allows me to basically get polymetered automation. So instead of having just a 4-bar loop, I now have essentially a 12-bar loop, because that's how long it takes for the whole thing to cycle through and resync together, which is pretty awesome. On top of this, every single parameter that you want to automate can have its own loop length. So say, for example, I want to go into my delay and go to my dry wet, and maybe I want this to start up here, and every, I don't know, bar and 3 quarter notes, I'm going to make this reset. So I can go in here, set this to be a bar and 3 quarter notes. And as I go back and forth between my different automated parameters, we can see that this one has a loop length of 3 bars. This one has a loop length of a bar and 3 quarter notes. And again, my clip has a length of 4 bars. So things are cycling and resetting at different times, which creates this really nice organic moving evolution where like you can hear the same notes over and over again, but the parameters that are moving and changing are different each time, which makes it sound a little bit more organic and engaging, in my opinion. This can be really useful for a lot of genres that have more kind of like longer evolving arrangements, like a lot of styles like minimal house or techno, where you want things to slowly change over time. This can be a really fun way to make subtle, interesting motion and movement within your sound and your sound design without it being really, really obvious. So on top of that, you can do this for modulation as well as automation. They can have their own lengths. However, if you're going to be doing this in the arrangement view, it's going to be a little bit different. So if we were to take this and copy it and paste it over to the arrangement view, you can see the cycle of this automation came with it, including the looped part, but only as far as the actual MIDI notes go or audio clip would go. So it kind of cuts it off. However, you can still unlink your modulation. So because of the way automation and modulation work in the arrangement view, you can't unlink it in the arrangement view for automation, but you can for modulation. If that doesn't make any sense to you, feel free to check out the other video I made about automation versus modulation, and hopefully that'll make a little more sense. This is a really awesome feature that I think a lot of people forget about and don't really utilize. It can be great for percussion, can be great for all kinds of sound design, for making things more kind of polyrhythmic or polymetered and a little bit more varied over time. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I release videos every Monday and Thursday about topics that I think are interesting in terms of music production with Ableton Live. And if you want to know more about what we do at Catalyze, feel free to check out our website, catalyzeacademy.com, for info about classes and lessons and workshops that we offer. Again, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.